The next definition is clearance, and then design, or design clearance is what it is. The distance around a door established by the manufacturer used to determine the actual door size. Okay, great. Let's switch to the screen view and let's take a closer look at the SDI glossary. Here it is. Okay, so what does that mean actually? And it's not easy to wrap your head around when you're new to doors because there's just lots of rules and lots of things to consider when you think about the difference between the nominal size and the actual size. And the word actual is used directly here. But they're using the word design in the way in which I would use the word nominal, or I think the industry would use the word nominal. And if we're dealing with doors, we're going to have a 3070 door. That's the design size or the nominal size. That is almost, in the commercial world, that's never going to be the actual size of the door that I'm aware of. In the residential world, yes, you very likely are going to have a design or nominal size the same as the actual door size, except the size of something is going to be not like the other understanding. And what I mean by that is the size of something in the commercial world is not going to be the size of something in the residential world. There will be a difference between design, and I'm going to use the word nominal, and actual. There will always be a difference. They'll never be the same dimension. They never will be. They can't be. Two things can't exist in the same place at the same time is kind of what the logic is. Said another way, 10 pounds of sausage, it'll tear a 10-pound bag. So you've got to have a little bit of room or distance around a door established by the manufacturer used to determine the actual door size. So what we're talking about here is, let's say that this is a 4-foot 4070. When I put my door in here, there's always going to be the size, the inside dimension of the frame. That's going to be your width. Actually, it's your nominal width, or I think according to DHI, your design width. There's then going to be the actual width of the door. And the design clearance that they're talking about refers to what's happening here, and what's happening here, what's happening here to the bottom of the jamb, and what's happening here. That's what they're talking about. Now, when it comes to the rules that you'll follow or observe for these margins are always going to be quite typically industry standards, and what the manufacturer says is pretty typical and common. So unfortunately, it takes more thinking about what has to happen with this stuff. So your manufacturer very likely is going to have a square edge door. Your manufacturer very likely is going to have a beveled edge door. Okay, those rules are different. So if you have a standard door edge that's beveled, this margin can be 3/32 of an inch. That door is going to measure 35 and 13/16. If your manufacturer sells you a standard square edge door, this margin is going to be 1/8 of an inch. The frame is never going to change. The frame is going to be 4070, 4070, 4070. But when they go with the door that they're going to put in here, that design clearance is going to be based on what's happening here. Is that square or is it beveled? It also will depend on what the client wants. And what I mean by that is a lot of customers, a lot of especially old-time carpenters, they're going to want a door that looks like this. Okay, here's your hinge. They want a square edge on the hinge style, and they want a beveled edge here. You're going to want to put 1/8 of an inch here. 3/32 would work. 1/8 of an inch here, let's say, and 3/32 here. But they want that square. A lot of carpenters are going to tell you they don't see a reason to have this beveled. It will be recommended to bevel the hinge side to reduce the possibility of hinge bind if your jamb is twisted at all. That relief here can help resolve that when your hinge style is like that rather than like that. The problem with that is you're going to have and it's a really tiny problem. And I did a video studying the problem. It's somewhere. But the issue is when you have a standard hinge. The swag on the hinge leaf does not accommodate a beveled edge door. The swag on the hinge leaf is really for a square edge door. You can put that onto a beveled edge door, but the issue is the leaf's not going to sit flat. Now we happen to stock I've got a hinge here I want to show it to you. I don't recall the part number, but hopefully I'll be able to find it quickly. If not, I can pull up the catalog. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Yeah, the TA4314, that's the ticket. Yeah, this one right here, it's a TA, or it's a 4314. It can be a TA or a TB, but I need to pull up the catalog to show you what that looks like. And this is a bit, I suppose, of an aside. 4314. Now, the 4314 is a hinge from McKinney that is intended for beveled hinge sides. And what that looks like is, if you recall our bomber template, those two leaves are parallel. But when you look at that McKinney, one leaf is going to be normal, and the other leaf is going to be like this a little bit. And what I'm trying to illustrate here is the gap here and the gap here are two different gaps. So, and it could be the old-time carpenter saying that he wants it square edge because he's not using this style hinge. It's a lot more expensive. But if you've got beveled edge doors, this is the right hinge to use. If you study the way that a standard hinge works on a beveled edge door, you'll see when you push the door closed, part of the barrel wants to go this way and part of it wants to go this way. Not very much, but just enough to give you some hinge bind, I think. You'll see it when you notice it. So the difference between the design size and the actual size is not complicated, but it's something that has several and many special rules that apply to it. But first and foremost, industry standards. This is always going to be 1/8 of an inch. This is always going to be 3/4 inch. This is always going to be 1/8 of an inch and 1/8 of an inch, unless of course it's not. But 1/8 here and 3/4 here, that's going to be all the time. So that you can count on what's happening here and here. Over here, yeah, it's going to be based on the door that you're putting in there. A wood door, very likely 35 and 13/16 beveled bowl styles. Could be. You got a pair of doors? Yeah. What are you doing there? What is the margin between the two doors? What are you doing between the two doors? You could have your inactive door that's square edge, which is probably what you want. Then you can do a beveled edge active door. Okay, that would be nice. That you have a beveled edge on one door, you can get away with 3/32 here. So the answer to the understanding of this definition, this is a very brief definition, that it would be true to say that when you're dealing with the design clearance or a nominal size, it's always going to be your 3070 type dimension, 8080, 4070, 3068, 2870, whatever it is. But when you stick the tape measure inside of the jamb, it's going to end up being 48 by 84. Your nominal size, you can measure that. That's the inside of the jamb in the commercial world. You put the tape measure on the door, and if it's a metal door, if it's metal door type 1, type A, you'll get one size. If it's the manufacturer's type B door, if it's a Regent door from Seco or a Medallion, you're probably going to have a different net size. Okay. Well, Regent's a bad example. I can't think of a square edge door. Like a Curry's 700 series or their 707, I think, is square edge. So you'll have to be mindful to know that there's always a gap. There is always a smaller actual size than the design clearance size or nominal door size. And determining how much less this is than this is something that you have to study further in your manufacturer's catalog to know exactly how they're treating the edge of that door. And just simply asking them, if I order a 3.0, what is the net door width? And you use the term net, or you say, what is the dimension if I put my tape measure on the width of that door? And then you'll be able to divide that by 2, and then you will know what's happening here and here. Okay, the next definition is door edge. Door edge clearance. Yeah, same talk, basically. This is the same conversation that we're going to have in the next definition. Let's move on.
Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.